Welcome to the first stimulating game review. This review will be a mega compilation review of all the core series Mega Man games up to this point. Mega Man, released in 1987, was the first appearance of the Blue Bomber from Capcom. I will be cutting this game a little slack in the features department as it doesn't have many of the gameplay elements of future titles, such as the Mega Blast, a slide, and it has 6 Robot Masters instead of the standard 8. It was the first game after all, so those are improvements that were made in the sequels. Mega Man was originally called Rockman in Japan. The name was changed to Mega Man internationally because the top brass at Capcom thought Mega Man was a cooler name, and you know what? They were right. Rockman is a decent name, just not as great as Mega Man. Mega Man is one of the more difficult games on the NES. I'm not counting the games that are difficult due to crap controls. The Mega Man games in general have a very tight control scheme, and if you die, it's usually your fault. While this game isn't as tight as later titles, the controls are still good. The platforming in this game is really top-notch and is really innovative for its time. However, there are still cheap hits every now and then. One cool little thing is the ability to select the level that you want to play in any order. And while you can select any level you want, bosses have weaknesses to other bosses' weapons, and you can use that to your advantage. The quickest way to beat Fireman is to use Iceman's Ice Slasher. Yellow Devil needs a dose of thunder in his eye. Yellow Devil is the cause of many broken controllers. I'm sure Nintendo sold many extra controllers thanks to the Yellow Devil. This badass breaks himself apart piece by piece and moves to the other end of the screen. The only way to survive is to memorize his pattern, and chances are that will take some time. This evil little devil is hard as nails and as crooked as the board I hit him with. The gameplay is very basic. Mega Man jumps and shoots, and it never really gets old. This is made true by great level design, great graphics, great character design, and a great soundtrack. Now that's a lot of greats. These statements hold true for all the games in this series to varying degrees. This game is notable for having a point system. It doesn't add anything other than bragging rights. It was probably included because a point system was just a basic thing that most games at the time had. It would have made the game seem more familiar to most. This game has power-ups, big and small life energy refills, and the classic Mega Man 1-up. This game has a few power-ups that are unique to this game. The Magnet Beam can create platforms. The Bonus Ball gives you more points. The Yasichi fills up your life and weapons and gives the player 100,000 points. One thing that I hate, and I am deducting a whole point for this, is the disappearing block sections. Once you know what you're doing, it's not too hard, but it's just a slog. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth, kind of like drinking a half-full 3-week bottle of Coke that you had lying around by accident. Another annoyance is the knockback system. I know it means don't get hit, but my god, this is Mega Man. It is an annoyance throughout the series, but it's a relatively small one. After all, it just means get good. Mega Man 1 is a solid title and was a good start in this long-running franchise. Now let's check out Mega Man 2. Mega Man 2, hands down, is one of the best platformers ever made. Mega Man just feels lighter, so he controls better when jumping and maneuvering. The game is heavy on the platforming, and it's almost flawless. One of the main drawbacks again in this game is the knockback when you get hit. That evil knockback will account for about half your deaths in this game. The controls are tighter, and there are less cheap deaths in this game than in Mega Man 1. This game has 2 difficulty modes, normal and difficult. Difficult is the original Japanese difficulty. Normal makes the Mega Buster do more damage while also increasing power-up drops. The game also introduced a save feature with the password system. Saving to cartridge wasn't really a thing in those days, so a password system was more common. After his defeat in the first game, Dr. Wily takes the next year to develop a new set of Robot Masters to defeat Mega Man. Mega Man accepts the challenge and decides to kick the ass of a sad old man. An evil old scientist. Mega Man 2 has 8 Robot Masters to destroy instead of the first game's 6.
Metal Man gives you the Metal Blade. It's a great weapon that will rip through non-metal enemies with ease. Wood Man will give you the Leaf Shield. This is useful as a protection item as well as a projectile. Airman gives you the Air Shooter. This weapon shoots out small tornadoes. Freaking tornadoes, that's so badass. Bubble Man gives you the Bubble Red. Shoots out a heavy bubble that travels around and deals massive damage. Man gives you the power of Atomic Fire. Atomic Fire is a chargeable fire projectile that shoots forward and deals a good amount of damage. Crash Man gives you the Crash Bomber. This weapon shoots out little drill bombs. These are useful in accessing areas behind a wall. And for defeating the wall or boss in Wily's castle. That boss is a real son of a bitch. Getting everything destroyed without needing energy tanks is very difficult. Flashman gives you the Time Stopper. This can be useful when getting to an area without resistance. It can only be used once and Mega Man can't shoot. Quickman gives you the Quick Boomerang. This will shoot out a barrage of mini boomerangs at a target. Most, if not all, common enemies can be damaged with this weapon. The graphics are very nice and characters have an even more cartoonish quality. The character designs, again, are fantastic. There was some great imagination at work for Capcom in the Mega Man dungeons. That's really one of the great things about Mega Man games in general, is the creative enemies based on simple ideas. The soundtrack in this game is top-notch. It really is some of the best 8-bit music ever produced. It kind of has a heavy metal rock music feel to it, like it was orchestrated and then transformed to one of the best game soundtracks ever produced. Mega Man 2 also introduces the Energy Tank. The Energy Tank will completely refill your health. They are best saved for real tough situations, such as defeating Dr. Wily. One small drawback is, again, the knockback when you get hit, and the disappearing block puzzles. The Rush Jet, though, does make some of these more manageable. Mega Man 3 is a great follow-up to the masterful Mega Man 2. It follows the same basic formula as Mega Man 2, but with some additions. Just like in Mega Man 2, there's 8 Robot Masters to defeat before you get to fight the endgame. Also, the bosses are weak to other bosses' weapons. It can be a good idea to know the proper order before you begin playing. It would save you some time in the end, and, well, although you'd be having fun figuring it out, Google can be a time saver in this way. After getting defeated in Mega Man 2, Dr. Wily had promised to go good. He worked with Dr. Light to create 8 new Robot Masters to be used for good purposes. He also worked on a new super robot named Gemini. To everyone's complete surprise, Dr. Wily was faking it, and he stole the robots to use against Dr. Light and the world. Mega Man 2 was such a success for Capcom, they brought the sequel out just 1 year later. This can be a dangerous move as you face the possibility of a rush game, but Mega Man 3 does not fall prey to that condition. It is actually better than Mega Man 2 overall. They did this by not reinventing the wheel. In many ways, Mega Man 3 is more of the same, but with some new additions and fresh levels, enemies and bosses. It is truly one of the best NES games. Mega Man 3 introduces a new character in Rush. He's your new best friend. Rush will get you to new heights that you never thought you could reach. Rush will fly you across large gaps, and will even fetch your paper in the morning. Mega Man 3 also brings a new sliding mechanic into the mix. This makes the combat much more fluid and gives you more control over a tough situation. Mega Man, and basically everything, seems to move quicker than before, and this is a welcome change. This game introduces the character Proto Man. He shows up as an enemy named Breakman that you fight a few times throughout the game, and then reveals himself to be Mega Man's brother, who is just testing and training Mega Man throughout this game. The music in this game is almost as great as Mega Man 2. Some of the tracks, such as Metal Man's, are on the same level, but most just fall barely short of Mega Man 2's greatness. This game does have the best, or one of the best music tracks on the NES. The gameplay is much of the same as before, but with some additions. The levels are new and fresh, but familiar in style as before, and that's really great. Gemini Man stage is a real standout. The art here is really NES at the top of its game. All of the levels in this game have really nice, polished background art. The locations and scenery are all very well done. This game has some cool mid-level bosses as well. We've already gone over Proto Man. There's also the giant metal. This cool mini-boss is a giant version of the common metal enemy. There's also Big Snakey and Tama. The Robot Masters always steal the show in the end. Their interesting designs and cool weapons make them something to look forward to. There are 8 main Robot Masters. I'll just go over them here pretty quickly. Needleman gives you the Needle Cannon. The Needle Cannon shoots needles rapid-fire style. The needles are small and can be effective sometimes, but overall it's not really that great of a weapon. This weapon shoots out magnets that track the target with a magnetic force. This is actually a great weapon and is very useful in many situations. Gemini Man will give you the Gemini Laser. This weapon is powerful, but you want to hit the target quickly, or the damn thing just bounces around and you can't fire again until it stops after about 5 seconds. It's actually a pretty annoying weapon overall. Hard Man will give you the Hard Knuckle. Don't read too much into that, you perverts. The Hard Knuckle is a projectile punching glove that does a lot of damage. It's slow and may not hit its target, but it is still a pretty cool weapon. Top Man will give you the Top Spin. You have to get real close with this one. As you jump into your enemy, you perform the attack. If the enemy is vulnerable, it can be effective, but getting that close often produces bad results, as you just end up getting hit. Altogether, it's best to only use this weapon when it's really needed, like Dr. Wily's final form. Snake Man will give you the Search Snake. This is a cool weapon that shoots out little robotic snakes that can travel up and down the walls to hit the target. This weapon is a lot of fun. Spark Man will give you the Spark Shot. This weapon is better than the Needle, but not by a whole lot. Best to use it when it's useful. Well, that's pretty obvious, right? But overall, it doesn't get pulled out all that much. Shadow Man gives you the Shadow Blade. This is a shuriken that acts like a boomerang and has a short range, but it's quick and effective, and most importantly, it's actually fun to use. After all the bosses are defeated, it's time to face Dr. Wily, right? Nope. This game also introduces another new concept to the franchise, the Dr. Wily pre-show. Later entries try to use this to fake you out. But this game just has this Doc Robot character using the powers of other Robot Masters from Mega Man 2. There are 4 new levels to play. They're remixed versions of levels you already played, but they're still pretty fun to play through. Doc Robot is a cool concept, and overall I do think it works. In conclusion, Mega Man 3 is greatness, and the knockback still sucks. And I hate disappearing block puzzles. But this game is getting a 10 out of 10. It's just that good. Mega Man 4 came out 1 year after Mega Man 3. Some may say this is where the series becomes somewhat stale, but I don't think that ever really happens all that much with this series. It comes a little close with Mega Man 8, but the scale's never truly tipped. This most likely caused Mega Man 8 to be the final game in the franchise for many years. But this game is pretty much on the same level as Mega Man 3. This game improves with the introduction of the Charge Shot. By holding down the attack button, you can get a more powerful shot. I would say this is definitely a welcome addition to the series. Not only does it look cool and the power advantage is nice, blasting through lesser enemies with a power shot is always very satisfying. This game also improves by having an opening cutscene. Dr. Cossack, in an attempt to best Dr. Wily, has invented 8 Robot Masters of his own and sent them after Mega Man. This game's graphics are pretty much on the same quality as Mega Man 3, but the animations do seem somewhat smoother. The enemy design is once again great. The enemies are full of interesting design and imagination. The music also is great. It's not as great as Mega Man 2 or 3, but on a lower level of great. Once again, there were 8 Robot Masters sent to ruin Mega Man's day. Let's take a look. Right Man gives you the Flash Stopper. This weapon stops time. Unlike the last game's Time Stopper, Mega Man can attack while time is frozen. Toad Man gives you the Rain Flush. Toxic rain pours when this weapon is used. Mega Man can now control the weather. That is pretty badass. Drill Man will give you the Drill Bomb. Drill Bomb has a limited use and is mainly for getting through wall barriers like in Mega Man 2. It's not very useful against enemies, except for the Kaboobler Gaming, which I probably mispronounced. And really that enemy can't be destroyed by anything else. Pharaoh Man will give you the Pharaoh Shot. This chargeable solar flare can be shot in 4 directions. This is a good and powerful shot that can rip through enemies and some bosses. Ring Man gives you the Ring Boomerang. This weapon is a limited range boomerang. You can hit a target multiple times and is useful against shielded enemies. Dust Man will give you the Dust Pressure. This is a bomb weapon. When it hits something, it splits into 4 pieces and can damage nearby enemies. This is a good attack-focused bomb weapon. Dive Man will give you the Dive Missile. This is a special missile that locks onto nearby targets and explodes on impact. It's decent, but it's actually nothing too special. Skull Man will give you the Skull Barrier. This is a field of skulls that rotate around Mega Man. It's similar to the Leaf Shield, but it cannot be thrown, although you can walk around with it. This game is somewhat more challenging than the last 2 due to endless sections of spikes and bottomless pits. Precision platforming is the main challenge here. The controls are great, and the impossible street deaths are even more rare, so it's really more of a test of skill. This game improves on the pre-Wily show that the last game started. And yes, Dr. Wily is of course the true villain. He has always been the villain, and while it is possible one day he won't be the main villain, that day is not today. Dr. Cossack was a tool, being used as a smokescreen by Dr. Wily. The bad doctor had kidnapped the nice Dr. Cossack's daughter, and forced the nice old Cossack to do mean things. Mean, terrible things. Mega Man 3 did something similar with the Doc Robot stages. Those stages, while cool, suffered slightly due to being remixed levels using the same boss, with a different power set from Mega Man 2. It's like they had the right idea, but they ran out of time or budget. Mega Man 4 is definitely great, plain and simple. It is one of the very best games on the NES, just like Mega Man 3. In this case, that's fantastic. You get new stages, new enemies, new power-ups and weapons. Mega Man 3 did have a slightly better art style and music, plus the Robot Masters and weapons were slightly better in the previous entry. All in all, I'm going to give this game a 9.5 out of 10. Mega Man 5 continues with its annual tradition. It was released a year later after Mega Man 4 in 1992. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that Mega Man 5 is a great game. It's not as great as Mega Man 2 through 4, however. Mega Man 2 through 4 were pretty much perfect platforming games, each entry having enough new additions to keep it fresh, while still keeping the same basic gameplay formula. Mega Man 5 had a couple of new additions as well, but they weren't as special. The levels, gameplay, enemies, music, and special weapons have lost some of their charm. That can be the problem with annual installments. It's still a great title, however, so let's get right into it. Mega Man 5 introduces a brand new character named Beat the Bird. And we're not telling you to beat your bird, this is Beat the Bird. To get this character, you must spell out Mega Man 5. Each stage contains a letter to collect. When collected, you unlock this little bird companion. Beat follows you around and attacks enemies for you. He's pretty cool. Beat was a gift from Dr. Cossack. It's curious that if it was a gift, why he needs to be unlocked in such a strange way, by collecting letters that spell out the title of the game. Maybe Dr. Cossack is actually one of the programmers for Mega Man 5. What a twist! He's cool and all, but you can only get him late in the game. It may have been better if he was unlocked earlier, but then the levels would have been too easy. I guess you could replay levels using Beat. That's pretty fun. Mega Man 5 also introduces the M-Tank. This power up fills up every Meter. It can take a long time, though. The Mega Blaster is improved in this game with a bigger attack range and a shortened charge time. Rush makes a return, but not for the better. The Rush Coil isn't very good this time around. Rush jumps with you, and that can be difficult to get a good jump. Rush Jet is just fine. Mega Man 5 starts off just 2 months after Wily was last defeated. Proto Man wants to take over the world and destroy Mega Man, so he creates 8 new Robot Masters to challenge and defeat Mega Man. Of course, Dr. Wily is behind it all, and the evil Proto Man was just an imposter. Graphics are once again great for this game. Everything looks sharp and clean, the backgrounds have lots of little details, and the level design ranges from serviceable to great. Gravity Man has an inspired stage gimmick with the switching of gravity. Wave Man has a great jet ski section. The music is still top level NES music, not as good as previous entries, but still very, very good. Where this game suffers is the Robot Masters and its special weapons. It really kind of seems phoned in this time around for the most part. Gravity Man will give you the Gravity Hold. The Gravity Hold is a very cool power-up. This bad boy will reverse gravity and send your enemies flying high. This is the best weapon in the game. Wave Man gives you the Water Wave. The Water Wave spouts out of the ground and travels the floor until it hits an enemy. I found this one kinda interesting, but also disappointing, so I have mixed feelings about it. The start of water is just so puny. I want waves, damn it. Stone Man will give you the Power Stone. This is truly awful. You get 3 rocks rotating around Mega Man. They can do a good amount of damage if they connect with a target, and it has potential to hit multiple times, but it often won't hit more than once. It also takes too long to complete its useless attack cycle. Gyro Man will give you the Gyro Attack. This is a little propeller-based cutter that can fly in different directions. It can be useful if you can get it to control properly. Star Man will give you the Star Crash. Star Crash is a cool weapon. It improves on the Leaf Shield and the Skull Barrier by protecting and also being able to be thrown. Charge Man will give you the Charge Hit. This is a pretty crappy weapon. It's easy to get damaged if you stop near an enemy. You can't change directions while using it, and it's just pretty weak overall. Napalm Man gives you the Napalm Bomb. This one is also pretty bad. You can shoot up to 3 bombs at a time that bounce around the ground. They explode upon impact on an enemy or after about 5 seconds. With the trajectory upon throwing, it's really difficult to hit targets with it. I mean, it's just really kind of crappy. Crystal Man will give you the Crystal Eye. The Crystal Eye shoots out a crystal orb that splits into 3 smaller orbs and then passes on a wall. This is similar to Mega Man 3's Gemini laser, but it's an improvement. There's a better chance of impact and you don't have to wait as long for it to disappear. Mega Man 5 isn't bad at all. It's just a little disappointing due to the previous entries being masterpieces. This is a fine piece of work, but it's not a masterpiece. I'm going to give this game an 8. This game broke the annual tradition, but only by a few months. Mega Man 6 was released in March of 1994 on the NES. This game didn't get a lot of love. It's a great game, but the SNES was in full swing and Mega Man X just came out on it. The opening cutscene shows a tournament designed to pick the top Robot Masters from all over the world. There's a new evil villain named Mr. X, and he wants to take over the world. Mr. X has reprogrammed the top 8 robots from the tournament for evil. It's once again up to Mega Man to save the day from Dr. Wily. I mean Mr. X. No, I mean Dr. Wily. It's not even a spoiler. Of course it's Dr. Wily. There's not a lot of new ground here. The biggest difference is Rush. Rush is no longer your little robot dog buddy. He's a couple of suit enhancements instead. You have Jet Mega Man and Power Mega Man. Jet Mega Man has you being able to fly for a little bit, while Power Mega Man gives you a big fist to punch the really powerful punches with. These are some solid changes, but the little dog is kinda missed. This game gets rid of the M-Tank from Mega Man 5. I guess it kinda makes sense, as Mega Man 6 is much easier, and it's actually the easiest Mega Man game so far. There's a ton of 1-ups and energy tanks to collect. The graphics are about as good as Mega Man 5, so they're pretty much the best that the old NES can do. The music is also really solid. It's not as good as Mega Man 2 through 4's music, but it's still better than Mega Man 5's music. The level design is serviceable, it's decent. One cool change is the branch and pathways. You can finish some levels in two ways: alternate paths offer power-ups, shortcuts, and alternate bosses. The enemies, once again, are great. The creative enemy designs for myself at least is part of the main draw for these games. I love seeing the new robot masters and the enemies, and I like destroying them. Good times. The robot masters in this game were not created by the game designers. Nope, instead they were created by the fans. Capcom held a contest in Nintendo Power magazine for people to create their own robot masters, and there were about 200,000 entries. There's 8 new robot masters for Mega Man to face. Blizzard Man will give you the Blizzard Attack. This weapon creates 4 snowflakes that are released in the direction that Mega Man is facing. It's actually a pretty cool weapon and can do a lot of damage. Centaur Man will give you the Centaur Flash. The Centaur Flash is another time-stopping weapon. This one will damage pretty much any non-blast weapon except for Wind Man, as it's his weakness. I like a good time-stopping weapon. This one's the best one so far. Flame Man will give you the Flame Blast. The Flame Blast creates a fireball. When it connects, a pillar of flame will emerge and damage anything dumb enough to walk into it. It's a decent weapon. It's not that great, but it's decent. Nightman will give you the Night Crusher. This weapon releases a spike ball that boomerangs back to you. It can be fired in 6 directions. This is a cool weapon. Plant Man will give you the Plant Barrier. The Plant Barrier is a basic shield that protects against some attacks. This weapon's pretty lame. Wall Barrier from Mega Man 4 and Star Crusher from Mega Man 5 are both superior. Tomahawk Man will give you the Silver Tomahawk. This spinning tomahawk drops low and then spins upwards. It's not a very good weapon, and its failure rate is too high. It's hard to make good use of it. Wind Man will give you the Windstorm. The Windstorm can fire up to 3 tornadoes that creep along the ground until they hit a target. It's a pretty boring special weapon. It can be useful sometimes, but it's actually really boring. Yamato Man gives the Yamato Spear. This is similar to Needle Man's weapon, but a little better as the spears are bigger. The robot masters themselves are overall well done and creative. It's okay if they use certain themes like fire and wind over and over again, as they can do a lot with those. Mega Man 6 is not a perfect game, but it doesn't really do too much new here. They have a formula, they like the formula, we like the formula, and it's a good formula. It's still a treat to see the new enemies, play the new levels, and get really, really frustrating. Mega Man 6 gets a very, very solid 9 out of 10. Mega Man 7 came out for the Super Nintendo in 1995. This game takes place right after the events of Mega Man 6. Dr. Wily has been jailed, and he has a backup plan. He has 4 Robot Masters hidden away, waiting to activate if they have not received any communication for 6 months. Their purpose is to look for their master. The robots break Wily out of jail, and Mega Man is called into action. This introduces the characters Bass and Treble. Bass is a robot with powers similar to Mega Man, and Treble is his wolf companion. After a small fight with Mega Man, Bass and Treble take off, even Mega Man dumbfounded about the whole situation. The first thing you notice in play in Mega Man 7 is the graphics. Sprites are much bigger. Everything does look better, but there are fans who prefer the way everything played and looked on the NES. There's also Mega Man 9 and 10 for that, but we'll get to those in a little bit. I don't think it's much of an issue, as the game still controls very well, and the levels are designed around the bigger sprite size anyway. The way they handle the stage select is also changed. They start you off with 4 Robot Masters, and the second 4 are introduced after. I assume this is to make the proper order of boss weaknesses easier to figure out. There is also an intro level, and a level in between the sets of the 4 Robot Masters. The intro level is just a small basic tutorial type stage, and the mid-section level has Dr. Wily raiding the Robot Museum to get back his favorite Robot Master, Deathman. Rush returns in both forms. You get the lovable Robot Dog, as well as a hybrid adapter similar to Mega Man 6. If you click the letters Rush, you get the Rush Super Adapter. This adapter replaces the Mega Buster. This is like a combo of the Hard Knuckle and the Mega Arm. Instead of flying, Mega Man can double jump. This game introduces a shop to the Mega Man series. In the levels, there is a new item drop called bolts. Bolts are currency that you use in the shop. You can buy normal things like extra lives and energy tanks. You can also buy beets, who will rescue you if you fall down a pit. Rush sets, and even a special bolt that will cut all of Otto's slices in half. This game encourages exploration. Some of the levels have branching pathways that could lead to shortcuts, power-ups, or might even lead to an alternate boss fight. Rush has a digging ability which can come in useful for more than just digging up bolts. If you dig in the right spot, you can get the super homing adapter instead of buying it in Otto's shop. A cool little Easter egg is the Ghosts and Goblins music that plays in Shade Man's stage. You can get this by pressing the square button on the PlayStation before selecting the level. The mini-bosses in Mega Man 7 are cool. Mega Man 7 has a ton of mini-bosses including, and I may be mispronouncing some of these, Kennigan, Odulus, Proto Man, Cookie Truck, and Van Pookin. This game has some good level design, and the enemies are once again a lot of fun. There are some new baddies as well as variations on old favorites. The music is once again great. No game will ever beat the music from Mega Man 2 to 4, but this is still a very good soundtrack. Now let's check out the Robot Masters. Freeze Man gives you the Freeze Cracker. This weapon fires a large shard of ice. If it hits the wall, it splits into 6 smaller pieces. It can also be shot diagonally. This is a cool weapon as you can also find a secret passage in Junkman's level. Junkman gives the Junk Shield. The Junk Shield summons scrap metal to rotate around you. This is actually a pretty great special weapon. The scraps will hit enemies multiple times before the shield disappears. The junk can also be used as a projectile. First Man gives the Danger Wrap. This weapon is interesting to say the least. You release a bomb in a bubble. Enemies that get trapped in the bubble will then find themselves exploded to death. Getting exploded to death really sucks. You don't want to get exploded to death. Cloudman gives the Thunder Bolt. This special weapon shoots an electricity ball forward. It can travel through a wall and split when it hits an enemy, traveling up and down. Springman gives the Wild Foil. This weapon can be charged. It releases a spring both backwards and forwards. By charging, you make the springs bigger. It's actually an alright weapon, but it's nothing too special. I do give it points for not being a rehash of old weapons. I wouldn't give the series any flack for recycling weapons. They usually update the concept somewhat. Slashman will give you the Slash Claw. The Slash Claw unfortunately won't give Mega Man a Berserker Rage, but it will generate a short-range energy beam that wipes out many weaker enemies. It's a cool weapon. You won't be like Wolverine, but you can be like Strider. So that's cool. Shade Man gives the Noise Crush. The Noise Crush blasts out powerful sound waves that bounces off walls. If the wave hits Mega Man, he will automatically charge and shoot out a power wave. This is a cool weapon. Turbo Man gives the Scorch Wheel. The Scorch Wheel sends out a wheel of fire in front of Mega Man that rolls across the ground. Pretty cool. This game also boasts the hardest Dr. Wily battle. Final Form launches multiple projectiles that are really difficult to avoid. You really need to be stocked up on energy tanks for this fight. Mega Man 7 is a solid game and a great update for the Super Nintendo. It made a lot of little additions and changes and it all came together really well. I'm going to give Mega Man 7 a very solid 9 out of 10. Mega Man 8 was released on the Sega Saturn and the Sony PlayStation in 1997. Mega Man 8 is the weakest game in the series. It's not a horrible game, but it's the worst of the Mega Man main series. The first thing you'll notice is the animated cutscenes. This was a great idea. At the beginning of the CD technology, they had the ability to put more on the disc. With this extra space, they can include additions such as real animated cutscenes. The animation isn't great, but it's mostly equal to what others were trying to do with animation of this type at the time. The production was really bad, and the dialogue and the voice acting, they were really bad. It is funny though.
coward. You'll pay for this insult. I'll be back.
Dr. Light, what is the problem?
A strange meteor has fallen to Earth just a while ago. This meteor seems to be emitting a powerful energy signature. Something this powerful must not fall into the hands of evil.
I understand, Dr. Light. I'm on it.
Thank you, Mega Man. If you can, please bring the meteor back.
Okay.
The game starts off with Mega Man in battle with Bass. After a fight between Bass and Mega Man, a meteor falls on Skull Island. It's a meteor that's filled with evil energy. Dr. Wily wants to use this evil energy to power his robot. Because why not? He's evil, of course. After a battle in space between a good and evil robot, the good robot named Duo crashes to the same Skull Island. Mega Man recovers the fallen robot and brings it to Dr. Light for repair. Midway through the game, the good robot Duo learns of the evil energy that's being held by Dr. Wily, and he flies off to go take care of it.
I can see it!
I'm impressed! I didn't think you'd make it this far, Mega Man! However, I don't have time to deal with you! Say goodnight!
Are you okay?
Who are you?
My name is Duo. I was born with the sole purpose to eliminate the evil energy from this universe.
Duo, that thing. It's just like the one I gave to Dr. Light.
Yes, this is what you people call evil energy. Based on my studies so far, the one who obtained the original energy must be a being of complete evil. This type of energy absorbs the evil in a person's mind and then multiplies. Judging by the quick rate of its growth, it'll take over the planet with evil energy in a matter of days. We must stop it! I sense the original energy exists in that tower. But the barrier prohibits me from going there. I'll destroy the rest of the evil energy that has spread throughout the Earth. You search and destroy the energy sources for that barrier.
Let's do it!
Like in Mega Man 7, the game starts you off with 4 Robot Masters, with the second set being added after. This time it takes a bit more, as there are levels on the second set where you need to use multiple weapons from the first set to make it through. You will still buy items with bolts, but the bolt system is a little bit different. Bolts are no longer everywhere. They are actually quite uncommon to find. There's 40 bolts in this game. To reflect this, the items cost a lot less. Bolts are now more valuable. It does suck though, as there's no way to get everything in one place here. Rush is back, but this time it's not one of his better appearances. Rush does 3 things in this game. Rush will turn into a motorbike. It sounds like a cool idea, but it's not good use in this game. There are only a handful of sections where this could come in handy, and that's only if you want to rush through part of the stage. Once you get to some platforming, Rush Bikes becomes useless. It's pretty much crap. Rush will give you a random item, or just fall asleep. This form of Rush will take the place of the robot from early games. That will be the only robot in the room and give you an item. Rush is a downgraded version of that, though, as half the time he just falls asleep. It's also pretty much crap. This one actually at times is very useful. Rush turns into a ship that flies back and forth across the screen and drops a crap ton of items and power-ups. This one I like. There's a new power-up in the game called the Mega Ball. At the beginning of the game, Rush gives the Mega Ball to Mega Man. The Mega Ball takes place of the regular shot and you can shoot it forward or at an angle. The Mega Ball can also be bounced off walls to get a hard-to-reach enemies or items. I think someone on the team had love for Mega Man Soccer. You know what I hate? Mushroom and sauerkraut sandwiches. You know what's even worse? Astroman stage. And Frostman stage. I hate those two stages. They suck so hard. The Astroman stage is pretty much a giant nose where you have to hit switches to open walls. It really should not have been so hard and annoying as it was. This part, while somewhat small, for some reason seemed disorientating and annoying to navigate through. The graphics are nice. They're pretty much the best they've been. The game is really bright and colorful. Let's check out the Townman stage. That's another thing that bothers me in this game. The Robot Masters are a mixed bag, while the battles themselves are pretty much technically as good as any other Mega Man game. The personality is lacking. It kind of comes off as the worst that it has to offer. It's kind of like a joke made canon. Kind of like Star Wars Episode 1. What it really comes down to is the bad voice acting and terrible dialogue. It's funny, but it's hard to love and appreciate like real bad voice acting like in the first Resident Evil. It's kind of sad that these two things can damage the game so much, but they did a pretty bad job of it, and it seeped in and infected everything else a little bit. Kind of like a giant cringe virus. The music is great though, once again not as great as earlier entries, but still better than 90% of other games. Since the game is on CD, the audio sounds better, and there's now a save feature. So good on you, game. The regular enemies and bosses are once again great and fun to check out. It's always fun to see all the new enemies in the Mega Man game. Kenju Man will give you the Tornado Hold. This is an awesome weapon as it drops a fan which creates a stationary tornado. Enemies are dumb, so they will go right into it, of course. Astro Man gives you the Astro Crush. The Astro Crush is a great weapon that rains asteroids and damages everything on the screen. Sword Man will give you the Flame Sword. Flame Sword is a fire sword that you slash enemies with. It's really cool and satisfying to use. Another great Strider-like weapon for Mega Man. Clown Man gives a Thunder Claw. The Thunder Claw launches an elastic energy beam that can be used to attack enemies and sting some hits. It's actually a really good special weapon. First Man gives the Homing Sniper. This weapon shoots out a homing missile that locks onto enemies. You can charge it to allow it to lock onto more enemies. It's a cool and useful weapon. Aquaman gives the Ice Wave. It has much more of a wave effect than Wave Man's water wave attack. This creates a wave of ice that not only damages an enemy that travels up surfaces. This one's another winner. Rockman gives the Flash Bomb. This basic weapon throws a bomb that explodes upon any contact. Aquaman gives the Water Balloon. This weapon fires water balloons. The balloons bounce along the ground and damage enemies. It's fun and it's creative. It's cool. This game is really much of a mixed bag. Some of it was really good, while other parts were just really bad. I'm going to give this game a 6.5 out of 10. Mega Man returns to its 8-bit roots with the 2008 release of Mega Man 9. Dr. Light's old robots have gone on a rampage, and Dr. Light is to blame. It turns out Dr. Wily reprogrammed the robots to serve him, and he framed Dr. Light in the process. This was easy to do as the robots were nearing their expiration date and were slated for destruction. Dr. Wily offered them a new lease on life and a chance to keep going, and they took it. This game took most of its inspiration from Mega Man 2. The charge saw shot and slide have been removed. Some things have stayed, like the shop, which is now run by Auto and Roll. Rush returns as well with the good old Rush Coil, and Rush Jet. This game has the first female robot master with Splash Woman. The graphics in this game are great for what it wants to be. They nailed the 8-bit look and animations, and everything just looks great. The gameplay is also great for a Mega Man 2-like title. The big stage set pieces are pretty much gone, but that's how Mega Man 2 was. The focus was on simple and precise platforming, and this game nails it. The music is fantastic. This ranks right up there with Mega Man 2 and 3 soundtracks. There are some really great chiptunes here. The enemies are once again great. This really goes back to NES Mega Man style. Of course, with the good comes the bad. I'm sorry to say the Vanishing Block platforms have returned. At least one has Rush Jet for the longer ones, but god damn it. Mega Man 8 has 8 more Robot Masters to contend with. Concrete Man will give you the Concrete Shot. The Concrete Shot fires out blocks of concrete. This damages most enemies and blocks environmental traps like flame jets. Tornado Man gives the Tornado Blow. This weapon creates a tornado that reaches all over the screen. It's a useful ranged weapon. Splash Woman gives the Laser Trident. It quickly shoots out to 3 trident heads at once. It's a decent special weapon. Each trident does little damage, but many can be fired quickly. Plug Man gives the Plug Ball. These little spark balls move along the environment, shocking anything they come into contact with. These shots take up minimal weapon energy, making this weapon a good strategic choice. Jewel Man gives the Jewel Satellite. This is a shield weapon. 4 diamonds rotate around Mega Man. The shield can be launched as a weapon or used as a shield. The shield will damage enemies. It's a decent, if not predictable, weapon. Hornet Man gives the Hornet Chaser. The Hornet Chaser, these hornets are alright for dealing with those hard-to-reach enemies, but its real value is grabbing hard-to-reach items. Magna Man gives the Magma Bazooka. This weapon shoots out to 3 balls of fire in a spread in front of you. Each hit deals as much damage as the Mega Buster. This is great for larger enemies and swarms. Galaxy Man gives the Black Hole Bomb. This little number is the real star of the show. This weapon creates mini black holes that suck nearby enemies into it. It's a lot of fun to use. Mega Man 9 is an excellent throwback title and a welcome addition to the series. I'm going to give this game a 9.5 out of 10. Mega Man 10 was released in 2010 and was another 8-bit adventure for the Blue Bomber. This game starts with the mysterious robo-entavirus that is sweeping across the world. It is making robots go crazy and inconvenience humans. Dr. Wily, being the kindly scientist that he is, has offered to help find a cure. Mega Man's sister Roll becomes infected. A month after the outbreak, the diseased robots malfunction and begin attacking humans. Dr. Wily then makes an alliance with Dr. Light to retrieve the cure that was stolen by an infected robot. Mega Man goes out to help find the cure, and that begins Mega Man 10. Mega Man, once again, has no charge shot or slider. This goes back to the Mega Man 2 style gameplay with the same additions from Mega Man 9. Rush is back with the Rush Coil and Rush Jet. Auto's shop is still selling you the tools of survival. Proto Man and Bass are playable characters. Proto Man has a weapon charge and a slide, but he takes double damage. Bass is a DLC purchase, and he can shoot in 7 directions, like in Mega Man and Bass. Bass shoots faster, moves faster, has a slide and power adapter that allows him to fly. There is also a challenge mode. Challenge mode is a series of 100 stages or challenges for Mega Man to complete. This is a great addition and a lot of fun. There's also an endless attack mode. This is a series of procedurally generated challenges that go on forever. The graphics are great for an 8-bit game. The levels are well thought out and offer a good challenge. There are still sections that give cheap deaths and require some memorization, but it's kept to a minimum. The platforming and design are still very tight. The music in this game isn't as catchy as the music in Mega Man 9. It has more atmosphere and kind of sinks into the background. It's still great 8-bit music, however, and is a fitting for a Mega Man game. As always, there are 8 Robot Masters for you to defeat. Blade Man will give you the Triple Blade. This weapon will shoot out 3 blades at once and attack multiple enemies. It can take out some shielded enemies as well. This is a cool special weapon and really satisfying to take out multiple enemies at once. Pumpman gives the water shield. The water shields and attacks. When attacking, the shield will hurl water outward and damage enemies. This one has a major intentional flaw that ruins it though. Even though it's a shield, if something slips in between the cracks, the shield won't protect you. Commando Man gives the Commando Bomb. This weapon fires a straight firing missile that will make turns if you press left or right. When it hits the surface, it causes a large explosion that can strike a target multiple times. This is a really cool original weapon. Chill Man gives the Chill Spike. This weapon fires a freezing gel. When it hits an enemy, it freezes. When the gel strikes the ground or wall, it forms icicles that can hurt enemies. This is another really cool weapon and fun to use. Street Man gives the Thunder Wool. This weapon launches a Thunder Wool cloud that fires a lightning bolt. This is only effective with multiple clouds. It's a decent special weapon and gets bonus points for being original. Strike Man gives the Rebound Striker. This is similar to the ball power-up that Proto Man gives you in Mega Man 8. This weapon is a rubber ball that shoots forward and or up and down. It gets more powerful with each bounce. Nitro Man gives the Wheel Cutter. This weapon releases a blade similar to Mega Man 2's Metal Man. The cutters can also scale walls. It's a decent weapon, but nothing special. Solar Man gives the Solar Blaze. This weapon splits apart and launches fire bombs left and right. It's good against shielded enemies. It's alright, but nothing too special. Mega Man 10 is a fine, serviceable Mega Man game. It's great, but on the low end of great. The 8-bit installments are at an end as of Mega Man 10. Mega Man 11 is coming towards the end of 2018 and has a more modern look. And you can expect a review right here when that releases. I'm giving Mega Man 10 an 8 out of 10.